Do you believe that you can heal yourself? Too often we give our power away to something outside of ourselves, and rarely, if ever, trust and tap into our innate healing power and intuition. Everyone has this capability to heal in ways we never thought possible. It's your sovereign right to claim and have true health and lasting wellness. Now, here is the host of the Dr. Dolores Show, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to a really awesome topic. I mean, let's talk about your intuition. But first of all, welcome to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm your host, Dr. Dolores Fazzino. I'm a nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, and I help people heal in ways they never thought possible. So for me, this topic is so near and dear to my heart because it actually is a foundational piece of who we are and what really makes us the unique individuals we are as well. So just to recap here, what we're going to talk about today is this: unlock your true potential within you. On our next episode, Intuition Release, Trust Your Secret Sauce. And it is a real delicious secret sauce. In this captivating episode, we're going to delve deep into the power of intuition, helping you harness your innate wisdom for remarkable success and success in all areas of your life. Discover how trusting your intuition, your intuitive secret sauce, can transform your life. Our insightful discussions provide actionable insights to amplify your intuitive abilities, guiding you towards confident decision-making and abundance in every aspect of your life. So join us on this enlightening journey as we explore real-life stories, practical tips, and powerful techniques. So I just want to welcome everybody for listening today. And like I said, this is one of my favorite topics because without our intuition, what are we? So often we have a tendency just to give those nuggets of gold that we have within ourselves to something, the power that's our power, to something outside of ourselves, or we dismiss it as being anything that's of value. It's like, how did we get there? Seriously, I think we've had a long history in humanity's evolution where we were just told that it wasn't okay to trust that. And maybe it was controlling of the masses through political persecution or religious persecution, whatever that was. But you know what? We're at a time now that we're returning back to what is really happening here and how essential this is for us right now with everything that we're experiencing in our world. And so I just invite people to listen today with an open mind and to look at possibilities where probably there had been none before. You know, when we talk about trusting your gut, trusting your intuition, listening to that voice within, your higher self, people think, oh, it's all separate and they're distinctively different. No, it's basically the same. It's that inner knowingness that something is either off kilter or it is like you're being drawn in that direction. It's almost like these hunches that you have that are unique for you. And I say for you, not for your neighbor, your wife, your spouse, your friends, your family members, but for you. What's going to be the right thing for you to do on your next steps of your journey. I think so often today we have witnessed so many people giving their power away to something outside of themselves. And I could speak from being in the healthcare arena because I, am a nurse practitioner and I bridge both the physical with the spiritual and Western medicine with a lot of alternative and complementary ideas, where too often people give their their rights as a sovereign being over to something that's outside of themselves. And in this case, it's like the doctor who has the white coat. One thing I will tell you is this from my experience, and I've been doing this experience for well close to 45 years. Trust me, Western medicine does not have all the answers. It's what they call practicing medicine. Okay, they have a license to practice medicine. That's interesting, huh? And the thing is a lot of times we don't look at the whole patient. We see a disease process, but we don't look at the underlying issues, like maybe how you were feeling and how you dealt with your feelings, if you felt them at all, what you say to yourself, your self-talk, but also your beliefs and your values, but also if you're connected to your body. A lot of people are not connected to their physical body. And when you're connected to your physical body, that's where you're able to be in touch with that innate ability to listen to that little voice within yourself and absolutely trust it. We've been programmed in our society that doing that last bit of listening to that, your inner self, has been given a bad rap, saying you can't trust it. And it's just like, well, how could they say that? Because they're not living in my body with my experience and how I have maneuvered through my life. So something to really take heed of and to be aware of. So how do we, start learning how to trust that little voice inside ourselves? The key thing is learning how to be in your physical body. Like I said, many people are not. It's like when you are not in your physical body, you are usually in your head. And when you're in your head, you're thinking. A lot of us are thinkers out there. We think we have to figure it all out. Maybe how it has to look perfect, or, how to control it and manipulate it. And it's just like we think too much. In fact, we think so much that we are rarely in the present moment, because when you are in your head, you're trying to figure things out for the future, but also contemplating and, looking back at what you did in the past, but rarely are you in the present moment. So I have, this is going to be a showstopper here, because it's just like, guess what? You have to be in your body. Oh my God, that's going to freak a lot of people out right now. I could just feel it. But the thing is, it's important to be in your physical body, because believe it or not, when you are in your physical body, you're in the present moment. Okay. You're not worrying about yesterday or contemplating yesterday. You are right here, right now. When you are in the present moment, there's like this sinking that you're like landing into your physical body, this groundedness of being fully present. It's also about having this peace, inner peace, calm, serenity, that no matter what is going on around you, you know you're going to be okay. When we're able to get to that point, this is where you're opening the doorway for your higher self and your intuition to come through. Your secret sauce, that beautiful, delicious part of yourself that's so wise and so rich with wisdom that you're able to enjoy what it has to offer. When you are in your body, okay, and you're connected with your higher self and your intuitive ability, you may get subtle hints. Maybe it'll be a sensation in your body, or you might get those, I call them aha, God moments, epiphanies, these little inspirational type of ideas that come through you. And they're for you to take and to gain the wisdom from that by following through of what is suggested versus second guessing it and trying to make it wrong and trying to make it fit into a box that you think it should be. This is about relinquishing control, allowing yourself to receive, and taking what you receive and putting it into action. And for many people, what I'm sharing with you is probably very daunting and very like, oh my God, no, I can't do that. It's just like, I got to stay in this, merry-go-round of going and going and doing and doing and doing, and the little squirrel and or the hamster in the wheel. Blah, 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 blah. It's crazy making, folks. You don't want to go there because you may get what you need temporarily, but you'll never have the long-term and lasting effect that you really so desire. Okay. We are in very interesting times right now in humanity's evolution. We're in a lot of uncharted territory. And I really feel that this is a necessity because it's about looking at what may have worked before, but of course you're finding that it's no longer working, that it's not about recreating the wheel, it's about creating a new wheel. So as we transition and humanity starting to evolve, I would invite the skeptics and the people who are the naysayers to just experiment with this. What do you got to lose? You could use it as an experiment for yourself. I always encourage people to, not believe everything they hear, but take the information and put it into practice and make it your own. Until you do that, you may not have those aha moments or those epiphanies of what I'm sharing with you. So I encourage you to, really dig deep as to, are you the type of person that doesn't trust your intuition or doesn't trust your hunches? Or are you the type of person that does? Are you looking on the outside of yourself for your validation and the right thing to do? Or do you come within and have a board meeting with yourself, the CEO of you, of all things? And what is the right next step for you? When you're able to sit back and just be in a space, the true test is when all hell is breaking loose around you. And trust me, there's a lot of opportunities for that. I speak from personal experience here just last week. And what is necessary sometimes is to say, thank you, I see what's happening. This is not my stuff, and just come within yourself. Something to ponder, It's just like, how are you showing up in your life? What are you doing? And is it really working for you? If it's not working for you, maybe it's time to check out something different. And maybe the difference is tapping into yourself and having connecting with your higher self so you can learn how to trust that aspect of yourself and get the information. Remember, that is correct for you, nobody else but you. And it's also about reconnecting with that sovereign aspect of yourself, your higher self, and your intuition. So as we segue into our next break, we talked about whether you are trusting that voice inside of you or are you ignoring it, whether or not you are a skeptic and don't want to believe it, but also whether or not you're ready to take control of your life and to embrace this part of yourself that is really, really a true sovereign gift that we each have. So once again, here we are with the Dr. Dolores Show, and we're talking about your secret sauce, about trusting your intuition. And so when we return, we're going to talk more about this, and we're going to talk about some tips that you could actually utilize so that you are able to live your best life and to embrace that gift that's within you that's just waiting for you to open.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores@drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, and you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. So we are talking about your intuition today. And, what's really kind of interesting is that what are we without our intuition? Seriously. I mean, I think we all think too much. And in fact, so much that we are rarely in the present moment. And, sometimes we just need to relinquish control and just get out of our own way. I mean, how many times do we get in our own way and just make things crazy making for ourselves and probably for everybody else that is around us too? Think about that. So anyway, welcome back. And, we're going to talk in this segment more about the times when you don't trust your intuition. I think we've all been there where we've had those gut feelings that we shouldn't be doing something and we ignore it, and maybe we go ahead and do that and then we live to regret it. I know I'm not speaking, I know there are people out there that this has happened to, because it has happened to me as well. How many times have we been programmed to listen to what's outside of ourselves? It's the authority, like in my world, the medical world. Listen to the doctors. They know what they're talking about. No, they don't. Shh. I'm going to let you in a secret. One thing I'm going to share here that I think is just to piggyback on that and why I say that. I always knew that from a very young point in my career back in the early 80s, because we just went through a pandemic of mass proportions, with the COVID thing. But you know what? There was another pandemic back in the 80s called the HIV and AIDS pandemic. I mean, it really was never labeled that, but that's what it was like. It was pretty similar to that. And at that time, I was working at a hospital on the East Coast in the medical intensive care unit. And I probably was about 3 or 4 years out of my nursing career. So I was still pretty young and kind of naive, and always believed that, Western medicine had all the answers and then, the greatest and the greatest. But that changed when I was in the ICU taking care of these really sick patients who had, what we call now HIV or AIDS, and the protocol would change every day. It was scary. I realized at that point that nobody really knew what was going on. And for me, that busted the whole illusion that they knew what was happening. So with that information in hand, what we have to realize is that Western medicine doesn't have all the answers. It's not a black and white type of thing. There are shades of gray, and there's a lot of possibilities, and there's so many other things that are underlying all of that. But getting back to your intuition, it's like, how do you use that? And, when it starts, say you go to the doctor's office and, the doctor tells you X, Y, and Z, but somehow you're just not feeling it. And it's not because you're in denial. It's just like there's just something off with the information you're receiving from the outside to the information that you are feeling within yourselves. I'm going to say this: trust what you're feeling within yourself. That bypasses anything that they may tell you, especially if they're trying to get you on a medication that somehow you just don't feel aligned with. Always trust yourself and your gut feelings about stuff, because it's always correct. I have witnessed, even in myself, where I would get a hunch that I shouldn't follow that, but I felt like, you know what, they knew what was going on, and I would follow that, and then I would live to regret that. I believe that there's many people out there that have had very similar circumstances. It's okay to advocate for yourself and to trust what you're getting, because I tell people, you know what? You've lived in your Taj Mahal for your whole entire life, your body, okay? A physician doesn't know all the experiences that you've had by being in that body. They didn't know how you dealt with stress. You didn't know, they didn't tell you, they don't know how you had heartbreaks or, emotional issues, or maybe they don't know what you really say to yourself in the silence of your mind. That self-talk, that little voice that kind of beats the hell out of you to a pulp. That's for another topic in another show. We're going to talk about that later, because that's so important. Also, they don't know about you and how you work in your non-physical modality, meaning that all the things that we can't see that are invisible, but they're energetic waves. In a quantum field, you could see this whole thing happening. But in Western medicine, they're beginning to recognize quantum field, but they don't play in that sandbox just yet. So they just look at the physical. And so when after you've lived in your Taj Mahal for some of us, it's decades, lots of decades, speak for myself here, that what it could handle and what it can't. You go by intuitive feelings about what is good and what is not good. So definitely check in with yourself. And if it's feeling wonky or like not sure, then it's a no. But if you're feeling like, you know what, yes, I want to do this, this feels like it's the right next step for me, by all means do that. This is about, not only in healthcare, but anything in your life as far as decisions. I believe that so many of us are in react mode. And I have this visual, and I share this with a lot of people. Society is like in react mode. It's like going to the state fair, and that game Whack-A-Mole. The mole comes up, you've got two mallets, and you're whacking moles left and right. And that's what reactive processing is. And you know what? It's like you're trying to put out fires left and right without looking at what the underlying issue is, which is so important, because many of us just think that, there's no other way, because we've been programmed into believing and thinking that. We drank the Kool-Aid, basically, for those of us who know about Jonestown, drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm laughing because there's actually a whole sector of the population who have no idea what that is. So when you are drinking the Kool-Aid, it's like you're following everybody else and not paying attention to what is your truth. Okay. So when you are beginning to start to trust yourself, it's like dipping your toe into the pool, especially if you've had no experience with that at all. So I invite you to dip your toe into the pool of trusting your intuition. And if you start feeling comfortable, start going in with your foot, and then the other foot, and then stand in that pool. And then when you're more comfortable, you take another step forward and just allow yourself to trust and allow this trust to come into your body. Okay. It's baby steps. Sometimes it's a process. We think that, oh my God, it's just like we're so into instant gratification. We feel like it has to happen yesterday or I'm not doing it at all. Okay. There's no bypass here. It's about a skill set that we've all innately had. It's just on the continuum of not utilizing it in this lifetime and utilizing it to its capacity. A lot of us are down here where it's been programmed into us at a very young age that you don't trust that. It's craziness. You can't, it's considered emotional, an emotional response. No, it's not. And when people start talking about it from that perspective, I have to widen back and realize that a lot of times they're projecting their stuff onto me of what it should be. Okay, let me back up. The other person's projecting their stuff onto me as to what it should be instead of what it is for me and allowing me to be sovereign enough to claim that for myself. This is where boundaries come in as well, and not believing everything you hear. I remember being such a sensitive child and believing everything I heard, because why would you not want to believe it? And for me, that was a huge growth opportunity because, being labeled gullible, I just like to rephrase that and say I was just highly sensitive and didn't really know where my boundaries were. It wasn't about being gullible or anything. It's just like, here you are, you're in this world. And I know I speak for other people just like myself. Sometimes you're too trusting. And when you're too trusting, that's when people have a tendency to take advantage of you. So winding back, when you're trusting yourself, it's about using discernment with that. So say for an example, you're getting a hit on something and you're feeling and you're like, I'm not really sure about this. And then you go over to your friends and you share this and they say, oh, you should be doing this, why, this, that, and the other. And part of you is like, no, that doesn't feel right either. Just trust what you're receiving internally. And you don't have to make a decision right away. Just be with that. Just feel what that's all about. Sometimes, it doesn't have to be a decision in this moment. You might have to sit with that and just feel and just allow yourself to come to the place of neutrality where you feel the inner peace and the knowingness that this is the right situation for you. When you're able to do that, it's a powerful experience because you're really stepping into your power, and maybe that might be the first time that you're experiencing that. So we're going to be going on to our next break. I can't believe we're halfway through our time together. This has just been whizzing by. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about trusting your intuition and maybe some exercises you can do to allow yourself to be right here, right now, in the moment, so you could hear that wisdom. So we'll talk to you when we come back from our break. You're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show, and I'm your host, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, and we're talking about Intuition Unleashed, Trust Your Secret Sauce. Talk to you when we come back.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Well, welcome back to our show.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, and you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. And you know what? Love to hear from you. Just reach out in the chat room if you're there, just to let us know if you have any questions. And we've been talking about intuition today, and the topic of our talk is Intuition Unleashed, Trust Your Secret Sauce. And I strongly believe that our secret sauce is our intuition, because that's what makes us somewhat spicy, if you want to call it that. Anyway, I have to play around with this. But, you know, so people often wonder, and they've also shared with me too, is that, you know, I really want to trust myself, but I just can't. And I'm just going to say that you're not alone. Many of us have had problems with trusting ourselves. It's like we want to trust other people, but yet everything starts with ourselves first. You know, they say, oh, in order to trust other people, you need to trust yourself. Well, some people trust other people outside of themselves without even without even a second thought. But yet when it comes to ourselves, we don't. It's like, what is that all about? So it makes you wonder, okay? Because if everything starts with us first, if we're able to trust ourselves, that energetically is going to flow out into the universe, where, you know, we're a trustful person, and people, you know, our energies will match with other people who are the same. So one thing that I like to share with people is the importance of just being grounded in yourself. I think that's the first fundamental thing. And it could be as simple as taking deep breaths. How many of us are shallow breathers? We're in our head, and you could tell when you're not in your body when you're breathing shallow. Because when you take a deep breath like I am now, it's like the air moves down into your body. Whereas if you're taking a shallow breath, like, it's like the breath stops here. Okay. So when you are able to engage your breath so it's fully incorporated in your body. So right now, just let's take 3 deep breaths. Okay. So even if you're in the car driving or listening to this, you know, and you're in a room, this is something you could do and still be aware. Just take a deep breath in And just hold it a little bit and just blow it out. And then take another deep breath in and just blow it out. And take one more deep breath in and blow it out. What you may notice is like you're feeling a little different. You probably feel like your energy is more fully present in your body than maybe what it was before. So often when we're in, maneuvering through our life, going through our daily thing, our breath changes depending on what's we're experiencing. If you're having a very challenging day and you're kind of stressed out, your tendency is to breathe shallow. You're not taking a deep breath. So I invite you to take a deep breath. First of all, know that something is not going well. And a choice that you could do instead of being reactive is just taking a deep breath and just pulling yourself back and allowing yourself to sink into your body. Believe me, when you start sinking into your body, you are more in your body, but you're also more present in the room around you, and you're not bouncing off the wall. It's like you're pulling your energy, but you're becoming more expansive at the same time. It's a quantum physics type of thing. So just so you're aware of that. So when you are, in your body, it's just like, just pay attention to the subtleties you feel. Sometimes your intuition will show up like a gut feeling you need to do something, or somebody shares news with you about something and somehow you're feeling not in alignment with that. Trust that. It's not about making the other person wrong or right. It's about it being in alignment with you and what you need to be doing and maybe where you're going on your path for your life. It could be that extreme as well. So just pay attention to what you're getting. And that's probably one of the first things that I tell people. It's like you are learning to have a relationship with this aspect of yourself that you probably had maybe a long time ago and you probably forgot about, or it got buried someplace. It's like reconnecting with a part of yourself that has the treasure trove of who you are. So it's about being gentle with yourself, allowing yourself to experience what's happening as well, and probably getting out of your own way of trying to think of how it's supposed to be or how it's supposed to look, because we have all these preconceived ideas. It may show up in a way that is kind of new to you, or maybe foreign, or maybe familiar. Whatever that is, just pay attention to that, because maybe that's how you're going to be able to bridge the gap to explore this aspect of yourself at a deeper level. I think a lot of times people get frustrated thinking, well, nothing's happening. I can't hear anything. Well, it's happening. Maybe you have to be more patient with yourself and just surrender. Surrender gets a bad rap. I'm just going to say relax and receive. Oftentimes, we don't allow ourselves to receive. We are so dug in with our heels in resistance and maybe even defiance that we think that, and it's probably our ego coming in, bleeding through with that as well. It's just recognizing this and saying, thank you very much for showing me that part, but I want to try something different. So it's not dishing, saying that this is wrong. It's saying, thank you for showing me this. I would like to experience something different and see what unfolds. There's many ways to get to this point. I just encourage people to try different things. This is about learning how to trust your intuition as to where you're being drawn to. It could be as subtle as a feeling of leaning towards something versus repelling from something. It could be that simple. If that's happening, I invite you to move towards where you're being led, where your body's leading you to, especially if you're getting intuitive hits. When you're able to do this, I believe that the next step will present itself, and so will the next step. The first thing you need to do is just open that door so it lets a little of that light in that's allowing you to being guided towards that. And maybe you're going to get to the point where that door opens and you're standing in the doorway. There's this beautiful light that's shining through. That's your higher self and your intuitive knowingness. Yet you are hesitant to move beyond the doorway to go into that. And just acknowledge that, maybe if that's happening to you. And just also know that the only thing that's holding you back is you. So when you're ready, you could just take a step forward and just move through that doorway, that threshold. I have this beautiful visual that sometimes I give to people, because here we are, we're wanting to connect and learn more about ourselves and maybe go on to our next move, but yet here we are standing in the doorway, and there's this beautiful light and scenery that's there, but we're hesitant to move forward. Nobody could make you move forward unless you want to. So I invite you to just take that step through that doorway, and before you know it, you'll be taking another step and another step. I know that your life will be more enriched and more magical things will be happening just out of nowhere. Especially if life up to this point has shown you something different. Just because life shows you something different up until this point doesn't mean that it's going to continue into the future. We are in charge of creating our own reality and moving forward. When you're able to tap into your gifts, your intuitive ability to assist you to where you are going on your pathway, this is where you become into more alignment within yourself, and everything starts to line up. It's as if we are moving to a higher vibration of ourselves. What I have to remind people is that everything you ever wanted in your life is in your energy field. It's in your quantum field. What the difference is it vibrates at a higher frequency. You may be here and not quite matching that frequency. When you're able to connect with your higher self, you are able to raise your vibration and your frequency. So now you're going to be raising your frequency, and it's going to be a match to what's already there. It's really effortless. It's counterintuitive to what we've been told as to how hard you have to work to get something. That's a belief, and it wasn't my belief. It was probably somebody else's belief that was projected onto me. So we're getting ready to go on to our next break, and you've been listening to the Dr. Dolores Show with myself, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And if you like what you hear, I invite you to go and to like us, and to also just join our chat and share some ideas, because we love to hear things from our audience. And when we return, we're going to talk more about intuition unleashed and trusting your secret sauce. So we're going off to our break now, and I'll talk to you when we get back.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, hello, everybody, again, and welcome back to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we are talking today about intuition. And the title of the show is Intuition Unleash, Trust Your Secret Sauce. And like I was sharing earlier, this is probably one of my most loved topics that I love to speak about, because I feel that your intuition is so essentially important, and it allows you to navigate your life through your lifetime and be in true integrity and alignment with who you are as a soul. Often in our historically with, humanity's evolution, we have been told not to believe that. We have been controlled by the masses, persecuted by religion, persecuted by politics. Lots of not so great stuff has happened through time and place, but now we're in a different aspect. And as we're moving forward in humanity's evolution and what we call ascension and raising our frequency to higher and better things, our intuition is so key right now. It's an aspect of how we could take our sovereign power back as a sovereign being. Okay, doing what is right for you without having the interference of and projections of other people projecting their thoughts and beliefs of what is important to them onto you, and you taking it on as your own. The days of that are done. We are aware this happens, and this is about discerning when this does happen, and and what you could do to move forward. So let's dial back and just talk about intuition and how you could start embracing this and making it one of your best friends. Like I said, start with baby steps. Most important thing, make sure that you're grounded in your body. Okay, grounding is important. And for those people who have the monkey mind, I have a guided meditation that's free, and I invite you to sign up for it. It's on my website, and my website is drdoloresfazzino.com/free-video. And it's a guided meditation that's going to allow you to ground in the present moment. And actually, we do that in 3 different dimensions, so you're anchored in, but you will definitely feel the difference between where you had been prior to doing this meditation to after listening to it. This will help stop that chatter. It'll help you to ground into your body, because when you're in your body, you're in the present moment. When you're in present moment, you're able to connect with your emotions and also your intuition. When you are able to connect with your intuition, you get those golden nuggets, those downloads that are unique for you, for what you need to be doing with your life, that's going to align with your soul and all aspects of yourself as you move forward on your path. We all come into this incarnation with a mission, and some people are always looking on the outside for this mission. I believe when you go within yourself and you start establishing a relationship with yourself, your mission will become evident. You'll probably be living your mission of what you're supposed to be doing. It's not external to yourself. This is within who you are. So it's about unlocking the lock and opening the trunk to step within your body and to allow yourself to explore and to embrace that. Next week, we're going to be talking about grief, which is an interesting topic. I think grief, it's almost like 50 Shades of Gray. I want to call it 50 Shades of Grief because grief is such a unique experience that no two people are going to experience the same. And grief can be from anywhere: the loss of a belief, loss of hope, loss of a body part, loss of a loved one, loss of a relationship, loss of what could have been. All these are about grief. We're going to talk a little bit too. I bet you people didn't know this, that when you have surgery and you have a body part removed, your body goes through a grief process. I bet you didn't know that, but it's true. We'll talk more about that as well and how to help yourself maneuver through those phases of our life where there's grief. Grief is a powerful and universal emotion that touches every life at some point. It's a journey of profound loss and sorrow, but it is also a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. And the human spirit is resilient. I've witnessed this. Navigating grief can feel like riding a roller coaster. Boy, I can relate to that too. There are highs and lows, moments of intense sadness, anger, guilt, and even moments of unexpected laughter and joy. It's all part of the process. It's crucial to embrace them rather than suppress them. Grief can be a challenging journey, but it also can be a transformative one. By understanding the complexities and embracing the roller coaster of emotions, seeking support and finding personal healing, you can move forward with grace and resilience. And remember, you are never alone on this journey, and there's always hope for brighter days. So stay tuned next week for that, because I feel that as we transition into the fall period, fall is always a time where, we kind of go deeper, and there's a lot of, with deeper things, there's more emotional things that come up, and also the grieving process is part of that. Trust your intuition. It's always telling you what you need. It's your inner barometer, your North Star, your guidance system. And of course, your secret sauce, because this is your intuition, what makes you who you are, in addition to your personality. It's kind of dovetailed together. Trust that, be light with yourself, embrace the joy that is there, and trust your gut no matter what. It will never steer you wrong. Sometimes when you get messages from your intuition, they could be aha moments. And I had one last week that I'm just going to share as we segue off. My car's hazard lights were on for 10 hours. So when I came out to the parking lot to start my car, I had to get a jump start. And I was like, oh my God, what is this trying to teach me? And then all of a sudden I got this intuitive hit. This place where you're working at is sucking the life out of you. I thought I was going to die laughing. And I was like, oh my God, that is so true. And so now I have a different perspective on that. And when you're able to look at something and find the joy and appreciation in it, it just makes life more lighthearted, pleasant, fun, and joyful. And who does not want to have any of that in their life? So stay tuned to learn more next week about grief. I look forward to seeing with you. And until then, just hang in there and just know.
Thank you for listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. Dr. Dolores returns Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, Remember to be kind to yourself and create your best life. You are worth it.